In 1892, an art dealer paid a fortune for a Dutch masterpiece. Sure, it came from one of the true giants of the Golden Age. Then he looked closer at the signature. Underneath the fake name was a tiny gold star, crossed with two letters nobody could place. That star belonged to Judith Leyster, one of Holland's most gifted painters. For 200 years, someone had quietly covered her name to sell the painting for more. By the end of this video, you will know how a lawsuit over money brought her back. By her teenage years, Judith Leyster was already good enough that a local writer praised her in a printed book, in the same breath as grown painters. That almost never happened for a girl in the 1620s. Her family were brewers, not artists. Her father had named their house after a star, the Leyster, meaning lodestar. Judith turned that word into her own signature, a small star crossing her initials. Open most art history books today, though, and her name barely appears. When she does show up, she's usually squeezed into someone else's chapter, called a follower, a student, or simply part of the circle around a more famous man. For a long time, historians treated her whole body of work as secondhand, rather than the work of a genuine master herself. Here's what those books tend to skip. By 1633, Judith Leyster had done something almost no woman in Holland had done. She was accepted as a full master into the Haarlem Guild of St. Luke, the group that controlled who could sell paintings and train students in the city. Within 2 years, she had her own workshop and 3 young men as apprentices. She was not assisting a studio. She was running one. That kind of independence made her a real name in Haarlem, equal to the city's biggest star, a painter named Frans Hals. But being equal to Frans Hals came with a problem nobody warned her about. Within 2 years of opening her workshop, one of her own students walked straight into his studio instead, and Leyster ended up taking a famous man to court. Frans Hals was the reigning star of Haarlem, famous for loose brushwork and portraits that seemed to catch people mid-laugh. Judith Leyster's paintings looked close enough to his that people later assumed they trained together. They clearly knew each other well. Leyster was even a witness at the christening of one of his children. They were neighbors, rivals, and, for one very public case, opponents. In 1635, one of Leyster's apprentices, barely a few days into training, walked straight into the workshop of Frans Hals instead, without asking anyone's permission. Under the Painters Guild rules, that was not allowed. Leyster took the matter to court, demanding real payment for training she had already given him. It should have been simple. Instead, it dragged in the student's mother, the guild, and Hals's own name. The court's answer was messy, but one part mattered more than the money. The student's mother had to pay Leyster for the damage done. Hals paid a fine too, though he kept the apprentice. Buried in that ruling was something else, official, written proof that Judith Leyster was recognized as a master of her own workshop, equal in the eyes of the law to the most famous painter in the city. That closeness to Hals, the very thing that made a teenage boy want to leave her studio for his, would end up costing her far more than one runaway apprentice. It meant their paintings could easily be mistaken for each other. After Judith Leyster died, that resemblance would not just blur a few brushstrokes. It would nearly erase her completely. Most Dutch painters of Leyster's time loved a familiar scene. A man offering a woman coins, clearly trying to buy more than her company for the evening. Usually the woman smiles back, or at least seems tempted. In 1631, Judith Leyster painted the exact same setup. Then she changed the ending. In her painting, now known as The Proposition, a man leans in close, holding out coins to a woman sewing by candlelight. He sits right beside her, in the kind of warm light other painters use to make a moment feel romantic. But the woman never looks up. Her hands stay busy with her needlework. Her whole body faces her own work, not him. That single choice was almost unheard of for the time. Most artists let the woman in these scenes flirt back a little because that was what audiences expected. Judith Leyster gave her total focus to her own work instead, calm and unbothered by the coins. Art historians now call it one of the boldest genre paintings of the Dutch Golden Age because she refused to give the crowd the reaction it wanted. A painter with that much control over one small panel should be impossible to overlook, and yet check almost any museum label written before the 20th century. And her name is nowhere near paintings exactly like this one. The same steady hand that painted a woman refusing to be distracted was, for centuries, denied credit for the techniques that hand had created. So, if Judith Leyster was really this skilled, a guildmaster who once took the city's biggest star to court, here is the real question. Why did almost nobody know her name for over 200 years? The paintings never went anywhere. They hung in plain sight. The people looking at them were simply told the wrong name. After she died in 1660, her paintings scattered into other people's stories. Some were listed not under her own name, but as the wife of Molaner, after the husband she had married years earlier. Others, the ones closest to Frans Hals's loose style, quietly slid under his name instead, since a real Hals sold for far more money. In 1892, an English art dealer paid a huge sum for a lively tavern scene, certain it was a genuine Frans Hals. Then he checked the signature, and something looked wrong. Underneath the painted name Frans Hals, hidden below a violinist's shoe, was a completely different mark, a small star, crossing two letters nobody could identify. He sued the man who sold it to him. During that public case, a Dutch art historian recognized the star as Judith Leyster's own signature. She had signed every one of those paintings herself, the whole time in her own private mark. Nobody was ever confused about how to find her name. People simply decided a different name would sell for more money. It took a lawsuit between two strangers arguing over cash to finally scrape that fake name away and let her own star show through. That star never needed anyone's permission to be real. It only needed someone patient enough to look closely at it. Judith Leyster was far from the only painter this happened to. In another studio, in another country, a woman painted one of the boldest, most crowded pictures of the century, full of bodies women were rarely permitted to study up close. Experts insisted a woman could not have painted something that skilled. That story is next.